I'm a realtor, but and I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. So take what I tell you as you will. But when I mention relationships, there's a variety of things that you can add as far as a relationship. Let me put it this way. There's a relationship with your family members. There's a relationship with your friends. There's a relationship with the love of your life, your lovers. There's a relationship with your wife, your girlfriend, significant others. All of them have to be handled in a certain way, but all of them take some cultivating. Just like with business, you have to cultivate it. You have to purposely get up, do the activities that will not only make the business or that other person happy, but also hopefully it'll come back and reciprocate and make you happy. For example, one thing is thoughtfulness, being thoughtful of others, appreciating the conversation of others, appreciating their time. Those are things that make a relationship enjoyable. I mean, we all have that person that when they come around or when they call, it's like, shit, I don't want to talk to this person. Should I put them in a voicemail? Should I send them a text? I'll call them back, and then you never call them back. Now you got a disgruntled person like, man, what's up? What's going on with you? You know what I mean? So communication is key. But if that's a relationship worth keeping around, you definitely have to sow some seed into that relationship and then help it grow. Just like my relationship with my clients, I definitely want them to know that, hey, the transaction is over, but I haven't forgotten. Like, I remember our times we had. I remember the laughs. Like, actually, you've become a part of my circle. Like, we've went through wars together. Buying a property is something that you don't do every day, and, you don't get a chance to do with anybody or just anybody in your circle. You usually do it with a trusted professional. And through in that process, there becomes a bond, because as an agent, I'm going to sow all my systems and sow everything I can into building this relationship so that you could be happy. And in return, hopefully you think about me and you talk to your friends about me. There's also sometimes in a relationship where, you need to be vulnerable. I can only speak for men. As men, sometimes being vulnerable is a tough thing. I can remember many times being in a circle with my guys, whether it's in the bar, in the lounge, or on the basketball court, and we all have the bravado like, hey, I'm the best at this, and check out what I did today, and hey, but, I'm sure somebody had a fucked up day. I'm sure somebody was dealing with some spousal issues. I'm sure somebody had a fucked up day at work. And if you don't allow yourself to be somewhat vulnerable with the people you're close to, like, you're just going to bottle that in. And usually bottled in bubbles and juices explode once they kind of come to a hill. So same thing with real estate, man. I mean, you have to communicate and be vulnerable. I'm vulnerable with my clients. I tell them about the time that I lost the property. I tell them about the time that, we thought we had a deal and it fell off the table. And I tell them about the time that, clients were upset with me and what I learned from it. So being vulnerable is just another way to communicate, to fuel a good relationship. We should have that with each other. You should have that with your spouse. You should have that with your friend. If you don't, man, I feel sorry for you. That's a tough way to live. That's a tough way to keep everything bottled up. Maybe you should talk to a therapist. Maybe you should seek some help. I mean, from a teenager to a grown up, like we all have some insecurities. And I'm not saying just tell all of your business to everyone you come across, but you have to learn to be vulnerable with some so that they can be vulnerable back, to facilitate a good environment of just uplifting and suggestions and just the listener. Sometimes my clients just want me to listen. They don't want me to fix their problems. They just want me to listen. Sometimes my friends just want me to listen. They don't want me to try to provide a suggestion or provide a solution. Just listen, because what I find out is when you talk and people are listening and you dig deeper and deeper and deeper, sometimes the solution comes right out of your own mouth. And that's with everything. I mean, life, business, real estate, you have it. The other thing about relationships is, recognizing when a relationship is toxic. If somebody makes you feel bad or they do something that's just not in tune with your spirit or your energy, I'm not saying cut that person off right away, but you have to be able to talk to that person and say, hey, what you did made me feel like this. And I didn't really like how I felt when you did what you did. And I mean, sometimes that can put a person on the defensive and say, hey, well, what you did this to me. Okay, great. I never recognized that. Now we're having a conversation. The worst thing about that and what's really toxic is when two people are like tit for tat. Well, you did this to me and I did this to you, but you did this to me. And that's why I did that to you. And we're never coming with a resolution. What I try to do is try to understand where people are coming from. So if I did something to you that made you feel some type of way, first thing I want to do is try to understand, like, why did it make you feel that way? Like, here's where I was coming from. But guess what? I understand and I apologize. And I'll work on that for the next time. You know, and then the same thing is next time you come to that person with something that they did that didn't make you feel so great, maybe you'll get the same type of energy. They'll reciprocate the same thing. However, if that person stays defensive, that person seems to try to manipulate the situation, that person shows no remorse, like then maybe that's a toxic relationship. And maybe that's somebody that you probably need to get away from. You know, not everybody is made to go along for the ride, whether, you know, your ride is just going up the block, your ride is going up to a new financial level, or your ride is moving to a new neighborhood. Not everybody is meant to take the ride. I don't care how long you've known them. Sometimes it's even family. It's people that you share the bed with that doesn't understand your vision, doesn't understand you. And let's just face it, just toxic. Nothing against a person that carries some toxicity. I'm sure some days I may carry some. I'm not bright and cheery every day, but it's important to have good people around you to help you recognize, hey man, you're in a pissy mood today. What's going on? It's important for me to catch myself. And if I have questions about it, ask the questions. What do you mean? Why do you say that? Same thing with business. You know, if you come to me with toxic energy and outlandish demands about property or about income, at that point, I just rather not deal with that. Trying to release and relieve myself of stress is a part of my balance just as well as it is trying to work with new people. And I have to be able to have that release or have that time or have that meditation or whatever people want to do away from that. And if you're coming into my circle, in my space, and you're bringing a negative energy, I just rather not deal with it. I'd rather just put that off. One of the things is being misunderstood. It can easily happen in this business when things are moving fast and you talk to people and, expectations aren't clear. And if something moves fast, at my point, I have to audible. There's times when I have to audible if things aren't going in the direction that the initial plan had to go. And so I know for myself that I need to take time and communicate that with the people that are involved with that play. If I just do an audible and I tell them, hey, we're just going to audible the play, trust me. And if we're not in sync like that and they're not trusting me, now they're looking at me like, hey, you just switched up. They're feeling deceived. That's never the intention. Sometimes an audible needs to be made so that the play can run successfully. And once it runs successfully and we move forward, then we huddle up and we talk about like, hey, this is what I need you to do. Sometime in the middle of the audible, you need to catch on and say, hey, Andre, it seems like you're switching up things. What does that mean for me now? And be open to the suggestions that I make. And just know that I'm making the suggestions based on evaluating what's going on with you or the whole situation. So again, these are relationship building skills. I mean, communication, thoughtfulness, and just trying to sow into a relationship what you would want in return. Sometimes I get to the place where I don't even want to be around people. Don't take it personal. It's not about you. Sometimes I just need to decompress. And again, like if you are that person or if you yourself are similar to me and people take it personal, it's important to come back around when you're in a better headspace and say, hey, like, let me talk to you about like what was going on with me the other day. Like, this is kind of what happened. I know how it can make you feel. Hell, it would make me feel the same way. You notice I use feel and, That is important when you talk about vulnerability and communicating, is how the other person feels. It's important to express that, how you feel. How do they feel? And know that, hey, are we on the same accord? And if we can't ever get on the same accord, there's nothing left to hold on to. And I think you would agree if you're listening out there. So that's my relationship advice. I know some of the guys was probably hoping I was going to tell them how, they can talk to a beautiful woman, or some of the women was hoping that I can tell them how to keep, a successful man or a kind man. But, I just feel like pour into yourself, and whatever you want to pour into yourself, pour it into others. And if it's not reciprocated, then maybe that's not the right relationship. If it comes back with a level of toxicity, then maybe that's not the right relationship. And just don't end relationships over a disagreement, because disagreements will happen. Sometimes they'll blow up. And I think at some point, sometimes you just need to hear the other person talk. If it's genuine, then okay, we can fix this and repair it. You just have to know how to discern from those two things, if it's genuine or if it's foolsgold. I think genuine conversation comes with genuine actions. If I hurt your feelings, or if I did something that changed, but my action shows, hey, I am giving, I am trying to mend this, I am sticking to my word. The thing that I told you I would do, maybe I couldn't do it at the right time. There's no excuse, but I still want to deliver. I mean, those are things that you look at to see if this relationship or this transaction or whatever you want to call it is mendable. And that's just my 2 cents on relationships building, and a little bit of happiness for yourself and your friends. Podcast usually gives me an opportunity to talk to other people, typically talk to business owners and give their story, give their advice. But I want to make sure I can alter the show in order to give the viewer something more substantial. You're hearing a person's story and it may connect to you, but I also want to start giving some key blueprints. So if there's a career path or a business or something that you want to build that's similar to any of my future guests, I want them to start giving some key bullet points to how they built it. So maybe you can use those key points to turn around and do the same things. Whether they built business credit, whether they, was able to get with an angel investor, what was their strategy, whether they were able to build a database so huge, what was their marketing plan, and how much did that marketing plan cost? Like, I want to start peeling back the onion and give people some valuable information so that when we look at these business owners and these businesses, we can get something really substantive from the conversation. For example, what I want to do is get a suggestion on our platforms, on our Instagrams, LinkedIn. So if you're seeing this and you feel like, hey, Andre, I think this can make the show better, if you even care, if you take time to listen to it. I know some of my shows are 45 minutes. If you listen to 15 minutes or listen to the front, the middle, and the end, and you say it's too long, or you say it's too boring, or you say, hey, I don't like that the other person is talking more than you, like, give me some feedback, because again, I want this to grow. Like, this baby is for the people. I want to create this baby so that it can give something back to the world. And I want the feedback of the world. If they feel like my show sucks, then hey, I'm good with that. Let me know and tell me why. Just don't tell me that my show's no good. Tell me a little bit why. But I think people wanted to hear my voice a little bit. That was one of the things that, I have some amazing guests, and usually I ask questions and I listen. My superpower is that I just try to listen and try to put things together and see what better questions I can ask. I try to think about what my listeners are thinking and see if I can ask those questions to give them the answers. But if I'm missing something, if there's something that could make this more enjoyable or more informational, I'd definitely like to get comments. I'd like to get feedback. I'd like to get emails. Go to my website, andrekeyrealestate.com. Look at a house, leave a message, whatever you need to do. Again, this is for the people. And I definitely am. I'm all about growth right now. I want to grow the show. I want to grow my business. I want to grow other agents' success. I want to grow my relationships. I want to grow my community. And so 2023 has been a big growth year for me, and that's my focal point. So with your help, hopefully I can grow this show and make it evolve into something even bigger. It's starting local, but I'm starting to get hits from other professionals that want to be on the show, whether it's just your local restaurant owner or it's some Fortune 500 CEO. I think that as we continue to grow and have more profound stories and more top-notch guests, and I take that back, because every guest to me is top notch. But the more guests that we have and the more we dig into their expertise, maybe if it's not as boring, maybe digging into their expertise can give you a solution to something you were stuck on. And what I mean by that is there have been plenty of businesses that I tried. I got the blueprint. I tried to do it, and then I hit a wall. And I'm wondering, wow, like they made it sound so easy on the microphone or on the YouTube video. How did they overcome this? How did they overcome this obstacle? Did they go over the wall, under the wall, around the wall? So I think if I can have guests be more specific about some of those obstacles in their specific business, then maybe the guests can hear this, especially guests that are knee deep in starting something similar. Maybe they can hear this as words of advice, or, hey, like, I wanted to build business credit. How do I do it? So let's talk to some guests that have successfully done that. So that's what my search is going to go to. It's going to go to the guests that will be willing to share those behind the scenes systems and behind the scenes back office things that really make the business grow, so that people can see that and maybe benchmark that and use that as a blueprint. Why reinvent the wheel when the wheel is already created? Now you can, the core of the wheel is that it's circular, right? But like, you can make different treads, you can make them lighter, you can add on wherever you want to the wheel, but like reinventing the wheel is a crazy process. And I don't want anybody to have to do that, because being an entrepreneur is already time consuming. So if you can get some cheat codes and I can help deliver those cheat codes, that's what we want our show to evolve to. Also, I do want to make sure we keep a small real estate segment in it. I talk real estate a lot. I talk it every day. I love real estate. But again, the entrepreneurial thing is also something that I've been passionate about for many years. And I can just, think about the times in my room or in my home office trying to figure something out, wishing I had someone I can reach out to. So hopefully I can provide context or some content that, instead of picking up the phone, you can just pick up your computer, press play, and hear the key advice that you needed. And that's where we want to go. The other thing is we're looking to make our show more visible. We're in the visible era. Everybody needs to be seen. Like, some people learn better that way. Still, we want to be on Apple. We want to be on Spotify. We want to be on all the places that podcasts are found. However, we want to also add a visual to the podcast. We want to add a YouTube link that'll allow you to look at the entire show. Maybe hear some bloopers. I'm not perfect. I don't deliver everything correctly the first time. And so let's see behind the scenes for the people that want to build a podcast. Sometimes you can see the inside of the studio and see where we go. Like, I am trying to be as transparent as possible, peel back the onion, because I feel like that's one of the things a lot of gurus do, or quote unquote gurus. They give you a piece of information and then try to bait you in so that you could buy the rest. Or they give you so much information and make the job sound so impossible that the only way that you can accomplish it is if you pay for their program and use their help. Me, I don't want to charge you for that. I just want to give it to you. I want to give, because, if I help you grow, then I grow, whatever. If people start to give me money because I give them great ideas, so be it. But at the end of the day, like, growth and financial stability and peace of mind, like, they're all tied. So, I don't want to make my show about, financially what I can do. I want to make it about what I can do for the listeners and the viewers. So be on the lookout on the visual podcast, vlog, whatever they're calling, the kids are calling it nowadays. You know, you can see my face a little bit more. You can see my guest's face. You can see when they're a little embarrassed by some of my questions. You can see what they light up by when I ask. So again, be on the lookout. We're going to continue to grow this baby. We want to get it big as possible. And, you know, I think, you know, I'll think out. I know we're going to get there. I'm persistent. I'm not giving up too easy.